All right. Good morning, ladies, and good morning to all of the mothers that are out here that are going to be tuning in and watching this session as we four ladies share our stories with you of our children, our sons that have recently passed away. Some have had longer journeys than others. As I myself, I am 20 years plus in the grief journey. These other wonderful ladies sitting beside me have more recent grief journeys that will be shared today in this session. Our session mainly is just to bring awareness to all of those out in the world, in the nation. We are not alone. We know that there are other moms that are out there that have been where we sit today. There are moms, unfortunately, in the years to come, in the future, that will also one day sit where we are now sitting. And our prayers and our hopes is that from this session, you will be able to gather detailed information, gather strength, support, encouragement for all of the information that we will provide, our stories, our support, our testimony, all of these things that are being shared today. We hope that it will uplift you and give you extra support as a Black mother, and you can see what the grief journey looks like. It is different for everyone. It is not the same. And so you will see that today as I ask questions from each of these moms. This is a raw footage. What we say and how we feel, it's the truth. The truth should not be hidden. And so you will see that information come out and be said. And we just hope, once again, that this encouragement session will just allow you to be able to understand that you are not alone and that you do have someone that you can reach out to if this journey ever passes your life. So good morning to you all, ladies.
Good morning.
And we're just going to start off by introducing ourselves and telling just a little bit about your child's age and give their name, and then we will go into some other detailed questions. So we will start here.
Hi, I'm Jessica Radford. My son was Caleb Radford Todd. He was diagnosed with a grade 3 glioma, sorry. Oh God, glioma. Brain cancer. It was cancerous at 6, and he passed at 7. He did 6 months.
Okay.
From diagnosis.
Okay, and where were you? Were you here? And of course, we are in Arkansas doing this recording session. So, and you are from
Magnolia,
Arkansas. Okay, and what hospital was your son in?
Children's Hospital, Little Rock.
Okay, and was that the first hospital that you had attended prior to being at Children's?
No, Magnolia, but they assured me nothing was wrong with him.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, of course, being in a smaller town, for you all that may not know, Magnolia is further down south in Arkansas. So sometimes when you are in these local towns, you have smaller hospitals, you always don't have the doctors with those degrees that can help to provide that exact diagnose. I was in Germany. We were at American Hospital, but unfortunately we spent 2 weeks there and then was transported over to the German hospitals. And within 2 hours, they had diagnosed my son with neuroblastoma. So it just goes to show you that sometimes when you're in one spot, there aren't proper doctors put in position or just there at the facilities to help the need. So you do have to further out and go to other hospitals. So starting here.
Yes. My name is Sarah Perry. I'm from Palm Bluff, Arkansas. My son's name was Simone Dontre Perry Jr. We affectionately called him Dontre. He was diagnosed with adenocarcinoma June of 2020, which is an adult cancer, and it is very rare to be found in a child. He was diagnosed at 13, and he passed away May 10th, 2021, and he will forever be 14.
Okay. And a little bit, just a little bit more details about the rare cancer. What were some of the symptoms?
So, interesting enough, it was right before COVID started. He was excited that he was going to get to work out with his dad at Planet Fitness because he was old enough to go. And they started working out, and my husband was preparing him for football. And he was sore underneath his arm. And his arm would tingle or be, have some type of pain. And we just jumped it up to, you're sore from working out.
Yep.
And as a mom, I'm like, oh, you're fine. You're
your
fine.
Boy. Yeah.
Yeah, you're fine. Then that March, COVID hit and we're stuck at home. Well, fortunately, my husband has, weights at home. So they're still working out in the driveway. He's complaining. He's asking for pain meds often. And then one night, his baby brother came in and he said, Mom, Dontre cries every night because he's in so much pain. Something's wrong with my brother. And so I immediately was like, I got to get him in to see his doctor. But it was COVID, like the height of it, where they're telling everybody, stay home, don't come to the hospital, don't go anywhere. And I had to make a decision to take him to the ER at Arkansas Children's Hospital. And I brought him, and they did an x-ray, and they found a mass.
And the mass was there up underneath
it was on the outside of his lung, in between his lung and his heart.
Okay.
And they said it was probably like this big.
Okay. So maybe like the golf size.
Yes.
Size of a mass.
We spent a week of them testing and testing and testing a lot
of testing, yes.
And the final testing was to do a biopsy. Did the biopsy, and of course they sent it to St. Jude, they sent it to UAMS, and they themselves tested it. They were looking for a childhood cancer.
Sure.
And St. Jude is the one that figured it out.
Okay. And yeah, definitely familiar with St. Jude's, and that was in Memphis, Tennessee. A lot of kids, they do are able to be referred to St. Jude's to receive treatments and to get a better understanding of what is going on with the child. So kind of going back to you just a little bit, what symptoms was your child showing?
So he had seizures, but it's not your regular seizure.
Okay.
Like if you were to see him, you would think he was playing. So he had like a glitch to him, but it wasn't like, oh my God, something's wrong with Caleb. You would think he was playing.
Oh wow, and that is definitely odd. So for a mom to see that, your mind is like, are you sick or are you playing?
Yeah,
like you didn't know, so that was very confusing and very frustrating. So at what point did you all say, you know what, he's not in play mode.
So my grandparents saw it often, but they didn't think nothing of it. Okay. I saw it one time and we got to see. Yeah. Oh, and his teacher, she's the reason. She was like, oh no, that was something different.
Okay.
We got to see what's going on with him.
Okay. So at each time he was having these seizures, there were different pinpoints that signaled and said, okay, this is a different seizure than this one from the last time. And so, okay. And so, yeah, family, a lot of oftentimes the child, is with other family members, your teachers. So looking and paying attention to those kids when they are having these symptoms or any type of illness, documentation is always good. And just being observant of the child, because a lot of times our kids, they do spend most of the day with that child care provider, whether it's the teacher or they're at the daycare, whether it's the grandma or the aunt, they're homeschool. So definitely being observant of the child at all times and remembering those things that occur always can definitely go back and in your mind and say, okay, let's go down the timeline and see what has happened, what has occurred, what triggered this, what started that. So, okay, now we're to Dominique. and we can talk about Kylan a little bit. And of course, I've already given her name. Yes, and for you all that are definitely watching, I just met these two individuals, Sarah and Jessica. Dominique and I was her wedding planner, and so that's how we met. And then from that point on, we just kind of sat down one day after not being able to get into the venue one day, and we ended up at McDonald's. And so that's how we kind of sat down, because from that point on, we actually had not had a personal conversation with each other. I had my wedding hat on. We were in business mode. And so at that point we sat down, and Kylan had just had surgery. Is that right? Yeah, he had just had surgery. So at that point, I just kind of, in my heart, I kind of felt something different that day. And I said, you don't mind asking, what's kind of going on, what's going on? And from that moment on, then I closed my wedding book. I turned it over and I said, I have to share my story with you. And she was looking at me like, what story are you talking about? Because we had not talked. So that's kind of how we met. So Dominique, you giving us a little bit about Kylan.
So my name is Dominique Bradley. I am from Little Rock, Arkansas. Kylan was diagnosed with a spinal tumor. It was a low-grade glioma, but ended up having to get a shunt due to the location of the tumor on his spine. He ended up getting the shunt, which he ended up passing June 19th of 2024 from a stroke because he had a shunt malfunction. So my story is a little bit different from everybody else's story. Kylan did do chemo at Arkansas Children's Hospital. For a while, the chemo stopped working. They put him on a targeted agent, and then they seen growth of the tumor. And it was spots all throughout Kylan's spine, and then saw some spots on his brain. And they ended up sending us to St. Jude to get treatment. So
you started off at Children's first.
Ma'am.
Okay. And then later was sent over to St. Jude.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so what symptoms did you see in Kylan at first prior to the shunt being placed?
So prior to that, kind of went through some years trying to get somebody to see Kylan, because Kylan went paralyzed in the left hand. He started walking like he had a crick in his neck. Went to doctors. They said he had GI symptoms. And I was like, no. Being a nurse, I knew something wasn't right. Ended up getting an MRI one day, and it took like 4 hours. And I was like, why is it taking so long? And just calling Ron, saying, hey, he's still back there. And I just remember walking into the back room and all these doctors standing there, and I'm just like,
what's going on?
What's going on? And I said, it's my baby dad. And it was have a seat. And I was like, no, I'd rather stand. And then that's when they explained to me that he had a tumor on his spine. But prior to that, it took about a year, I say about a year and a half, I might be off a little bit, for someone to actually take us in and take us serious to know that Kylan had a tumor on his spine.
Okay. And of course, we all know as mothers, that's very frustrating. Yeah. When you are going to the doctors and you're like, I'm a mom. I get it that you're a doctor. You've been in school for 15 plus years and you in debt now. But listen, I'm a mom. I'm with this child every step of the way, every second, every hour, every minute. And something's wrong with my child. And I need you to prick, poke, scan, photo. I need it all, because I want to see every answer possible of what could be going on. So we all know as mothers, that's frustrating when you're literally having to go back and forth. And then when you have to see multiple people, because then you've got to start all the way over again. This is where I was. This is the story I got to tell. This is what happened at this doctor's office. And then they have to go back. So that's very frustrating when you do have to keep going to all of these physicians and all of these different offices. But then, of course, you get somewhat of a breather once you get to that point, and then someone listens. Someone listens and they say, okay, let's sit down and let's dissect this. Let's go from head to toe and let's get this taken care of. And so, of course, now you all, now you're married.
No, man.
No, single mom. Okay, so 2 single moms here, and you were a single mom during the process as well.
Yeah.
Okay, and then
Married.
I was married during the process.
and then married during the process. Okay, so of course, as you can see, everyone's situation is definitely different. And as far as that, just having that spouse or significant other in the household with you, with the child while you're caring for that child, that makes a difference. And we're gonna, dig into that a little bit later in our conversation. So now that we've met all the moms, we've got all the kids, the sons' names, and it's just, like I say, by coincidence that we've all got sons, and those are our, now, was this your firstborn?
Yes.
Firstborn.
Second.
Okay, so this was your secondborn. Okay, okay. So see a little bit difference here. So how old was your firstborn son? How old is your firstborn son?
He's 10.
Or I'm sorry, daughter. Or is it
Son.
Son. Okay, son. Okay, so 10. So what was the age difference?
3 years.
3 years.
2.5, 3. Yeah.
Okay, okay. And so so the three of us all have other children in the home, and then Dominique got Kylan, and Kylan was the only child. So just talking a little bit about that, what was it like for your other children? When that first, did you have that sit down conversation with the child when their sibling was diagnosed?
He has autism.
Okay.
My other son, Cornelius, he has autism.
Okay.
So he wouldn't understand,
Okay.
but he knew it was something.
Then
Yeah, I don't know. He's different, and it's like he picks up on a lot.
absolutely.
And so he knew it was something. And of course, we was gone. We had to move up here to do treatment.
Okay.
And so he knew it was something. He would always, I don't know, they always fought. But when Caleb got sick, he would be like, "Oh, where's Caleb? Let me talk to Caleb." So,
And children know. Children know when they know when something's wrong with us as a parent. They know when something's wrong with their other siblings. Even though there was another type of disability with that child, they still know that there was something. Now, you mentioned you had to move from Magnolia to up here.
Yes.
And so you were at Children's?
yes, we moved into the Ronald
McDonald House. Awesome. And of course, and I am board of directors of the Ronald McDonald House for Arkansas and Louisiana. So we definitely, the support there of what it takes to operate that house. There are so many outside entities that give and support because just like families that you're hearing here, this family had to move from their location, from their home. So, of course, at the Ron McDonald House, we make sure that you have a home away from home because that is important. You're not worried about your meal. You're not worried about your showers. You're not worried about those things are not on your mind. You're not thinking about that because your child is sick. You're having to get, appointments day after day. You may spend all day at the hospital,
Definitely.
And the last thing you want to think about is, okay, where can I get a home cooked meal? That's you're not thinking about those things. Or like, I just left, 2 bags of clothes at home that was supposed to come with me. How long did you end up having to stay here?
We did 8 weeks.
Okay.
We did 8 weeks.
8 weeks away from home, from your home.
Yes.
And it's so that's a lot. That's a lot. And now was your son that has autism, did he also have the opportunity to come up, or your support system back home?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, he stayed with my grandparents and my mother. His dad, my kid's dad, actually stayed with us.
Okay.
Here.
Awesome.
So yeah, he was very supportive.
And that's so important because so many people, they don't have that when they're going through the process, the journey. You don't have that, and so that's awesome to have. Did you have to move?
No, we did not have to move, but I did stay with my sister-in-law a lot. Dontre had to do 30 rounds of radiation. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. And so to avoid like the traffic and the hustle and bustle of that. My sister-in-law lives in Alexander, and we stayed with her a lot.
Okay.
So that was a blessing.
Absolutely, because any of us know that when you're having to get to those appointments, you don't want to be late. You want to be on time. Sometimes the child, they're not feeling good. They don't want to get up. They don't. You don't. Us as mom, how many of y'all? I know y'all. It's didn't want to get up. It's like, again, you got to go over this again. You have to. So you had to put up. You had to get up and put your big girl panties on. You had to put your big girl panties on, and you had to do that. So and a lot of times, and I stayed we were in DC. We came from Germany. And we flew over, and this all was during 9/11. So we were dealing with the 9/11, and then having to come from Germany, be here, and then and my parents were here in Arkansas. So then having to fly out to DC because we ended up at Walter Reed. So so that journey, so that was a lot in itself because we had to have an escort to come back over to the States because of everything that was happening. So like you say, having to be away from home, I was a long way from
you.
Yes, having to be away from home was hard. I've experienced that numerous times anyway because my middle child was a NICU baby. He spent 21 days at Children's when he was born, so I was away. My daughter was a 29-weeker. So I spent not only just that, I was hospitalized for 7 weeks pregnant with her. So I've experienced a lot of times having to be away from home. So she was a baby and I was pumping while he was going through radiation and trying to provide for her and deal with him and keep telling myself, you're not stressed, but your body is depleting itself daily.
Absolutely.
And you're watching your supply just tank and spazzing out because you're trying to make sure your child. So that was probably one of the hardest things because you're telling yourself in your head, you're fine.
You're fine.
You can do this. You can do this.
Get yourself up. Just let's keep going.
And your body is just
saying no,
shutting down.
Yeah.
And the middle kid, his brother, they shared a bunk bed. They I asked him, y'all want separate rooms? No, we want to stay together. And to watch him try to navigate his brother not being there.
Now, what was the age difference between them?
Almost 3 years.
Okay.
2 years and some change.
Okay. So there was definitely a well understanding.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
And we did sit him down and tell him, your brother has cancer. We don't know, what life is about to look like, but we kept him very informed the entire time.
So you have a total of how many children?
I always tell people I birthed 4, but I have 2. Because my daughter's twin also didn't make it.
Okay.
I lost him as well.
Okay.
And so his name was Samson. So I also talk about him too when it comes to, childhood loss. Because, he was a part of us too. I just never got to physically see him. My husband saw him, but I didn't.
But you didn't. Okay. So definitely with your story, you, while trying to see to one child that's dealing with a terminal illness, then you're still trying to provide nourishment for another child.
Yeah.
I was in that same predicament. My son, and he literally just shut down. He did not want the breast milk. He wanted Oreos, pizza, and Doritos. And I was like, dude, you're not gonna make it. You're not gonna make it. Like, we gotta eat something else. And now Mikhail's 23, and so that was the second child. But I definitely understand. You're in the hospital with one. You're trying to nourish another, but then also for yourself.
Oh yeah, that was not eating.
That was
And I'm pretty sure y'all can.
You can relate of just not eating,
Sarah,
not drinking.
you eat today?
Yeah.
And you had to think about it.
Did you brush your teeth? Did you wash your face? Did you So you have those moments. And of course for you, Dominique, just with Kylan being the only child, that's tough. That is, because that was your firstborn.
Right.
And so so with you and your household, what did you, and I know with just you and the spouse, what were some things when it all first happened? How did your life change?
Oh my gosh. When we first got the news, I remember calling Ryan. He was at work, and all I hear is like, and I'm like, okay, did he pass out? Is he coming to the hospital? And he finally made it to the hospital. And for us, both of us, we were just froze, because for us, we're the babies of our family, and we have a baby. And for Ryan, that was he was the first grandson, the only grandson.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Okay.
And so for me, it was like, I have my siblings and their kids, and I can finally be a mom, because like my nieces and nephew were like, oh, okay, rich auntie vibes. Now I'm a mom.
Now you're mom.
Now I'm mom. And so for us, it was, what do we do? I had to think about it. Okay, I'm a nurse, but my first priority is I'm a mom.
Yes.
So for me, it was like, okay, this is what I know from nursing, but this is what I know as a mom. So it took me to call on other people. I remember me and Ryan just calling different hospitals, trying to get as much information about the tumor, asking for genetic testing, because once again, neither one of us on either side, no cancer ever was brought up. No tumors was ever brought up. So for us, it made me question God. Because, okay, my brother had these many kids. My sister had this many kids. But then this one kid that you blessed me with has a tumor. This one kid that you blessed me with is going through the most. And it's not that I wish anything on my nieces and nephew. I'm not saying that at all.
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, why us?
Yeah, these are true thoughts that are going through your mind. Absolutely, yeah, yeah.
So for me, I work nights. Ryan worked days. So Kylan had chemo every Monday. I would get off of work Sunday night, go home, shower, and be at Children's that morning for chemo. And sometimes chemo was 8 hours. Sometimes, y'all know labs took forever.
Yes.
Forever. Then they have to make the chemo. And then sometimes Kylan had to get an antibiotic with it. He had to get fluids with it. So for me, going in at 19:30 military time, 6:30 p.m., and then having to be up 24 hours. I'm sleep in the same bed as him, the hospital bed at Children's Oncology. I'm sleeping, trying to rest. And there was times I cried. I mean, like we mentioned, there was times I didn't eat. But that was hard. That was the hard part. But we had to do it because our families live so separate. And then it was in the height of COVID that all Kylan had was mama and daddy.
Yeah.
And you can't go into hospitals.
Yeah, the hospitals were limited.
They
shut it down.
It was limited, and so we just had to do what we had to do. We had to work. It wasn't like we could take time off. We had to work, and so our household dynamics changed a little bit, but at the same time, we gave 100% to Kylan.
Yeah,
absolutely,
100%
absolutely.
to Kylan.
Now, during COVID, as you were mentioning, and of course we all know, like my son, when COVID had hit and people were complaining about wearing the mask, my son had to wear a mask. I mean, did y'all?
Man,
That it was
my son was a teenager, and to make him wear that mask, it was like fighting an infant.
Especially a toddler,
Put that mask on. His last birthday, when he turned 14, we went to Dave & Buster's. That's where he wanted to go. It was wall-to-wall people. Don't you put that mask on.
right.
Put that mask on. He's like, yo, okay. I turn around.
Oh, yeah.
Because he trying to play the game.
Yeah.
He trying to have the time of his life.
Yeah.
It's my birthday.
Yes.
Exactly.
Put that mask on.
No matter
Yes. He fought it. Yeah.
I don't know for Jessica, but I know for me, because Kylan was younger and Kayla was younger as well. It was like, what mask?
Yeah.
It was like, I mean, trying to tell a young kid, hey, you have to work, because they really didn't know what was going on.
Absolutely.
And so it's like, no,
My kid knew what was going on.
Your kid knew.
And he was just like,
he knew.
I'm not wearing it.
wearing this. I'm
Yeah.
not wearing this.
Y'all,
Yeah.
Yeah.
He
At
hated it.
church, it'd be under his nose,
Yeah.
on his chin.
Talk about somebody can't breathe.
Right, yeah.
You can breathe just
Yes.
fine.
And I need you to keep breathing because I need that mask on.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. So the mask for, of course, for the kids with, as far as a cancer patient, that's something that's that's a part of their life that's been going on even before
Before
COVID
yeah.
even hit.
Yes.
And, and people were complaining about, oh, we got to wear the mask, we got to put this on. Well, guess what? These cancer kids, they have to wear it. The slightest sneeze, the slightest, it's just, that throws off their whole, immune system.
Yeah.
And then you're talking about, the whole chemo treatments and
Yes.
all of these things. And you're, as a mom, you're thinking, I hope the platelet count isn't down.
Oh, right.
Right.
Because if that's down, it's like a reset button. And it's like, no, please don't tell me that. Oh, we've got to wait and we got to get this count back up before they can be administered these certain medicines and stuff. So being, like we're all talking about, being in the hospital, the whole process of going through that and the medications and stuff, that just waiting and stuff, that too becomes very, just straining as well. So
My son had continuous chemo. He had a bag, and they changed his bag every Tuesday. So he had what they call continuous IFU, and along with radiation. So, so the whole month that he got the radiation, he had chemo going through his body at all times.
oh my goodness.
But I kid y'all not, it didn't. He never lost his hair.
Okay, I was just about to ask that. What was the
He didn't drastically lose weight.
skin coloring? Did that change?
He did. He the tips
Of his-
turned black.
Okay.
He did have a bad reaction to radiation where he was hospitalized for like 15 days. They called it pneumonitis, where the radiation, because the mass was here, so that's what they were doing. So it affected his lungs, and it made him like he had overly severe asthma.
Wow. Okay.
Like he couldn't walk from here to here without being out of breath.
Oh goodness.
Like it was bad. Like he couldn't even adjust in the bed without being out of breath.
So did y'all end up having to get like a special bed?
No, so it was a side effect
Okay.
from radiation, and about 15 days it got better. It eventually got better, but he eventually started to have a
Inhaler.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. That was a lot, and it was a lot
It was a lot.
with the chemo and radiation all at one time.
Gotcha. So everybody's support system, of course, has looked different. As single moms, as moms that have been married, that all looks different. Because of course our support system, grandparents, aunts, your neighbors, all of these people pulling in. And of course, and we're going to dig just a little bit deeper. So this probably is the point where we're going to grab our tissue in a minute. But as far as with what has been the most difficult thing you've experienced since the passing of your child?
I can share first. I can go first. I think I saw Jessica's face.
Take a deep breath. No, it's fine.
I think for me, the most difficult thing, a lot of people don't know, but I was at home with Kylan. And we actually took him to the hospital that Monday because the school called and said that he has been sleeping a lot. And I said, shunt malfunction. I'm on my way. Call Brian. I said, hey, I'm getting Kylan some food. We heading to Children's because he having a shunt malfunction. And I know they're going to tell us NPO, nothing by mouth. So get there, tell him all the signs and symptoms that he's having, run all the tests, do a CT, come back, oh, everything's fine. And so I'm like, I said, well, do a COVID test because he's not himself. Did a COVID test, was negative, sent us home. That Tuesday morning, woke up, we was preparing to go to St. Jude because we went to St. Jude We was there for 5 weeks, and then after the 5 weeks, you go every 2 weeks. And it was our time to go back to St. Jude for our first trip back to Memphis. So that morning, we got up. I cooked him breakfast. Ryan went to work. He said, "Mommy, I need to use the bathroom." I said, "Okay." And then he came out the bathroom. He said, "Mommy, I need to lay down. I don't feel good." And I said, "Okay, baby, what's wrong?" And he said, "I need to go to the doctor." And and I said, "Kylan, stand up, stand next to me." And I said, "Say your name, spell it for me." He said, "KY," and he projected out my and passed out in my arms. Immediately, the nurse mode, CPR, calling. I'm talking to the lady, the 911 lady, and she's talking to me, and I hear her talking. You know, I hear her voice, but all I'm doing is I'm checking for a pulse. Hey, he has a pulse. She's telling me, okay, the fire truck is near. The fire truck is near. And so for me, that moment plays in my head. I suffer from PTSD from it. I have nightmares. I take medication daily. I take medication daily because I have to function. I have to live life without Kylan. And so for me, that is the most difficult part, is having to experience that moment. It's a moment I'm always remember, because I was the last one to hear him, and I was the last one to actually be with him with his eyes open and everything. So
Yeah. So your moment, Miss Jessica.
I would say there's probably multiple. I also suffered from PTSD. Hearing hospital noises. My husband always talks about the sound of the X-ray machine, the portable X-ray machine coming into the room. Because if you get an X-ray at 2:00 in the morning, nothing is ever good. I also was the last person with my son. My husband had walked our pastor to the car, and I kept asking, I was like, "Doctor, are you okay?" He was like, "Mm-hmm. You okay?" And they told us what was going to happen. There's nothing else we can do. And they basically were like, because his lungs kept filling up with fluid, and they were like, the fluid is eventually going to crush his lungs and he's going to die. And I'm like, okay. I just didn't think it was going to happen as quickly as it did. And when I heard him gasp for the last time, and I pushed the button for them to come in the room, and they came running, and it was about 7-8 people just surrounding his bed. I ran in the bathroom, and I started hyperventilating because I knew what was happening. And I called my husband. I was like, "You have to come back." By then, he was at Walmart. I was like, "You got to come back. You have to come back. Then you have to come back."
Yeah.
And I would stick my head out the bathroom, and everybody's still around him. And we had already agreed not to resuscitate, no extreme measures. And they were like, they gave him something to sedate him, I can't remember exactly what it was, because he was fighting the not being able to breathe. Because they had maxed out on oxygen. We were at the max where we were at. I was on one side, my husband was on the other side. And the nightmares of watching the monitors just slowly go down. But at the moment it was happening, I was so calm. His doctor grabbed my hand And she said, I feel the peace of God all over you. I feel it. Because everybody else in the room was crying but me and my husband.
Yeah.
And at that moment, I wanted to fall out on the floor and kick and scream. I wanted to. Because my child was dying and there was nothing I could do about it.
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. And I had to sit here and watch it happen. Who signs up for that? You know?
Yeah.
And it happened. Everything they did pronouncing of death. And I'm still just, is this really, like, I'm literally having conversations in
with
my
yourself.
head.
Yeah.
Like, is this really happening? I felt like I was in a dream. My face, like, I don't know if any of y'all experienced this, but my face started burning. Like, I started having, like, it was bad. Like, my face broke out. I started burning. My chest was, like, my body was just all over the place. I stayed in there while they cleaned his body. I couldn't leave. And when they told me I had to go, it was like, it's time. You gotta leave the hospital.
That walkout.
Yeah. I stood in front of children, like at the front. The children just stood there. Probably about 5 minutes. Like, I'm not coming back out with this kid. Like, this is it.
Yeah.
I did for weeks. I had nightmares. I would close my eyes and I would see him gasping for air. Because when they came and put him on the max of oxygen, he still was just struggling. And all you could think of as a mom, like, what is he going through?
Yeah.
What is he thinking? Is he hurting? Is he scared? My son definitely professed his hope in Christ. And he was sure that he knew where he was going. He knew he was dying. He knew it. He drew me a picture. It was Mother's Day weekend.
Wow.
He drew me a picture of the sunset. He knew he was dying.
So he drew the picture prior
Yes.
to the hospital, being in the hospital.
He was already there. Everybody had came to say bye to him. And he handed me the picture. And it was a picture of a sunset. And I looked at it and I looked at him. And I knew that he was telling me bye.
Bye.
And then that next day he passed away. But the trauma that comes with the hospital stays, the noises. My husband does not understand why I watch Grey's Anatomy. I love that show. But it kind of triggers some of my trauma sometimes. I just
Love watching that. Yeah.
I do, but we both struggled in the beginning with him. I closed my eyes, and especially that first night, I don't even remember sleeping. I don't remember. I don't remember.
Like you were in the bed, but you just
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't like them first couple of nights of just trying to function
and process. Yeah.
Nothing
just-
like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nothing like that.
it. Yeah.
And then I need to be on somebody's medicine.
I agree.
I agree. I think that everybody, and it's not you saying it as a mom, like, hey, listen, listen, just sign me up for the medication. I just done lost all my marbles. It's just, it's literally, and that's why I say, this is the raw footage, because that's how you feel. Like somebody just go ahead and just dope me all the way up, because I don't think I'm going to be able to make it and process what just happened.
Feel like you're gonna lose your mind.
Yes,
like
you're
you lose your mind.
literally
You're gonna go crazy.
Literally, yes. You don't know at that moment. You don't know left from right, A to Z,
Exactly.
and 1 to 1,000, 1,000,000, trillion. You just have no concept of what's going on. Anything that anyone is saying to you, and we gonna get into that. We're gonna get into that because that's one of them to where it's just like.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
We're gonna get into that. So, and just kind of with you ending it off, what has kind of been the hardest part, and of course, the two, Dominique, you all were at the hospital at the same time. Two mothers sitting here now, being in that same hospital on the same floor, and were y'all rooms apart? Was the room? I don't remember where your room.
She'll have to tell you. I don't remember.
At the same time?
Yeah, same time. And the room that we were in, and I keep saying we, and I was there. I was there with Dominique when she called me and it happened. I literally, I don't even remember throwing on clothes. That's just how it happened. It was like somebody said, I'm going into labor. Oh, I don't even remember what I put on. And I just told my oldest daughter, I'm headed out and I'm going to the hospital. And she just gave me the thumbs up. And she already knew. But we were in a room, and the grievance rooms there was 2 rooms, and it was kind of diagonal. And one was over there, and then we were here. We saw you, and we saw y'all on the floor. We saw, but we didn't know what had happened. We had no clue. We didn't know what was going on. We just knew it was another whole family there. Something had happened. It was people in the floor. They were in the hallways. And they were crying, and we were like, something has happened. But we don't know. We don't know who they are. Wow. And we were all there together. And then you just never in a million years do you think that God's going to bring you together to tell a story. And you were there. So they were, and like I said, I don't remember. Do you kind of remember what room she was?
I don't remember what room. But I'm gonna let you tell your story.
Yeah, tell your story, and then she'll piggyback. She'll piggyback.
I'll piggyback.
Listen. Okay, so
it's just the hardest thing that after all of this has happened.
Okay, so the hardest thing that I deal with, the day that it happened, I was exhausted to where I couldn't keep my eyes open. And I'm always alert. I noticed everything. This particular day, I couldn't read the room when it came to him. So he felt bad. That's not unusual. It happens. And I asked him, I was like, hey, you want to call your dad? He was like, yeah, call my dad. He always says, no, don't call my dad. So I was like, okay, well, let's call your dad. It's like 2 a.m. Because he was like, I just feel kind of bad, but it's not as bad as us need to go to the hospital. I'm like, okay. He started throwing up, and then he started going into a seizure. So I'm like, oh Lord, Caleb. It's a thing where he used to have a lot of seizures a day. One time he had 30. And if we take him to the hospital, it's like they just pump him up with Keppra, or sometimes they be like, look, we just gotta let it
take its course.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, Caleb, we got him I got him under control, and oh my God, y'all, I could not keep my eyes open. So the next morning, my mom came over, and she was like, you need to take him to the doctor because he is not being himself. So I was like, okay, I got myself together. I called his dad. He was like, hey, no, I'll meet you. Well, I told him I'll pick him up. We get in the car. And Caleb, he had his tablet, and he went into a seizure. So I'm like, no, take his tablet because, the lights.
Yes.
So he's like, Mom, I'm fine, whatever. So I was like, you want me to send it back to you or your dad? He was like, no, let my dad sit back here. I'm like, okay, whatever. I feel some type of way because it's always,
Mommy and son.
Right. So I was like, okay, let's drive. I'm driving, and I call his nurse. I'm like, hey, I'm not taking him to Magnolia. We finna just head on to Little Rock. He looked at me and his dad, he looked at his dad first. He was like, I love you. And he looked at me. He was like, and Mama, I love you. And I was like, oh, I love you too. I could not read the room. And like 5 minutes later, he went into a seizure. I've never seen nothing. Like, it was so bad. And he passed in his dad's arm.
And that was there at the hospital.
This was on the way. It was like in Stevens going into Camden.
Oh, wow. Wow. So you were still a ways from Children's Hospital.
We ended up in Camden. We called, they met us it was like 3 minutes. Mm-hmm. They met us. I never forget the lady, the paramedic, she looked at me and she was like, she couldn't tell me, but it was like a look she gave me. Mm-hmm. So I was like, okay. And
then how did you end up at Children's? So once we
got to Camden, they did a CT and it was bad. After Camden, I don't remember nothing.
Nothing. Were you was he air-evac or did y'all go by ambulance?
We went airlifted.
Okay, airlifted. Okay, airback. Yeah. Okay. Wow. That's and like you say, so you weren't even and like you say, they look at you get that look, but like you were saying, at that moment, your body, and like you said, your body is just in shutdown mode. Yeah. It's in a shutdown mode, and you can't even process all of that. And so, and that's just, and I mean, and for myself, I was at the bank. I was sitting in the bank, and and at that moment, my mom and dad were at the hospital at Children's, and I got the call and literally said, you need to get to the hospital because my mom had already experienced that he had his last breath. And she said when she stepped out into the atrium, there was a breeze that came through. Mm-hmm. And when she went back in, and then he just took, that last breath. So I wasn't even there. And for me, a lot of times I struggle with, I was still trying to live life. Mm-hmm. And just say, hey, I got to go to work. I'm going to school. Mm-hmm. I'm doing this. I got my support team. We've got chemo going. This is going to be fine. This is going to be great. Mm-hmm. You're trying to live. Right. But your child is dying. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so it's that for me and now at that moment, because I think, and I was even going through a divorce because the other person had already checked out. Mm-hmm. And so I'm trying to process all of that while still trying to care for the child. And it's just like a lot is going on. So for me at the time, I feel like now, I really didn't go through a grievance process. I was just steady on the roll. Right. It was like, it happened. Mm-hmm. He passed away. And then 3 weeks later, I found out I'm pregnant again. And I'm just still rolling with life. Wow. I never stopped to say, Kim, Madison is gone. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I did, and now I realize that I'm like, Kim, you didn't even give yourself time. Right. Mm-hmm. You just kept in the fast lane and you kept going. So I was steady trying to live just the regular life because you're just thinking, we're getting the treatments, we're getting this, he's gonna be fine. It's just, you just keep going. Yeah. And you're thinking that, but in your head, I had no idea the journey that God had for me. And of course, for all of us, we didn't, like you said to your child, we don't know what that's going to look like, how, where are we going to be in the next 2 or 3 months and stuff. So, so that was a lot, for me, and then still dealing with all that was going on in the world. So it was just like, you're just literally just going and never stopping. I never went back to the gravesite until Colin passed away. Mm-hmm. My son passed in 2005. Mm-hmm. And on the morning of the funeral, God literally said, you just helped your bride, this lady, plan the funeral. I sat in the room with them. The program, the funeral program, her parents and everybody, they said, we respect you, Miss Kim. Y'all got a closeness that we can't even understand. Whatever Dominique and that we right here. Literally, and God said, I'm placing you here in this lady's life for a reason. Yeah. And at that moment, God said, now when you leave this funeral, you going back to the gravesite. And I was sitting there saying, listen now. Listen, now Kylie, the reason I rode in a limo for my first time was
because look, when you got out the limo, I said, Ron, she said she had not been to see her baby since he passed. He was like, oh my God.
Yeah.
And so
yeah.
I was like, wow.
I was walking to the gravesite with them, and God literally said, "You
Y'all
packing?"
probably think I'm crazy then. I cremated my baby.
Oh no,
Oh,
don't be
no.
crazy.
But I don't talk to him. I ain't even got an urn yet. He's still in the box.
Ain't nothing wrong with
Okay,
it.
so
No, it's and as a parent, whatever floats your boat, and any parent that's dealing with that, however you deal
I
with
don't
it.
know what to do. Like, I don't know if am I supposed to just keep the ashes? Because I got some of my daddy's ashes too.
Mm-hmm.
That's not funny. It shouldn't be funny. But my mom had moved briefly. And I kept going, but you taking my daddy. And so I got a Ziploc bag and
You got some of
I
it.
got
Some of it, yeah.
And so
Ain't nothing wrong with that.
it's Dontre, Samson, and then my daddy in
Yeah.
the Ziploc bag.
Whatever floats, whatever floats your boat, that's what we
Right.
roll with as a parent, and it's okay. And some people like, you ain't been back since.
But I understand that.
Mm-hmm.
I do, because it makes you relive it.
Yep.
And anything, a lot of times we go into protection mode.
Yeah.
And so anything to protect, we do.
We do.
And I can see how somebody could not go.
Yeah.
I can.
But I ended up going. I drove back the next day, and I packed bags, and I don't even remember what I packed. And I went up on that hill. My heart was pounding. I saw it, and when I saw it, I brushed the grave off, or whatever, and I saw it, and I was only there 5 minutes. And then I left, and I went back down the hill, and I got in my car, and it just, something just came, and it was just like, it wasn't so bad, Kim. Like, you did it. You went up on the hill, and you did it. And even since then, I hadn't been back since then. Now, I've had my parents to take some stuff up there, but I hadn't been back. But when that happened, I was like, all of this was already preordained. God already knew. And of course, we know that God, he's went before us.
Right.
And for any parent, any mom, any dad, any parents, grandparents, whoever you are that has, authority over that, that child or whatever, God has already went before us. So when we see these kids in the hospital now and we see stuff that's happening, I just always say, the Lord is faithful.
Yeah.
And he has already gone before us, and he knows what's going to happen. Right. He is just, you have to just rely on him, even though you be like, now, Lord, now listen. Why in the world did you pick me? But there's a reason, there's a reason that he picked us, or whatever. And so, and I'm glad that I was able to be that support system for Dominique, and that he used me through my business.
Right.
But
the other crazy thing about it, Kim, sorry not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
The fact that I think your son passed at 5.
Yes.
Kylan was 5 when he passed.
Yeah.
So that part right there, from me meeting Kim, her planning my wedding, us talking about our son, her being in the hospital with me during the whole time, and I actually passed out. And I passed out on Kim.
On me. We walked back in. I said, Dominique, you ready? She said, yeah. She got up. We walked in there. And she saw it, and she dropped.
No.
She dropped. She dropped.
When you saw his body.
He was in the bed. He was in the bed. So they had him in the bed, and she saw. And I actually don't even know if Dominique actually even looked at him. I think it was just when we walked in the room, the processing of like, in a moment. I said, now, and in the hallway, I said,
after he had passed.
So.
No.
So
they hadn't pulled. Yeah.
We haven't pulled the plug yet. Okay. They already declared that he was brain dead. They moved us into a larger room. His school shut down. They shut down the whole school. They came up there. Everybody got to say their goodbyes, and I think for me it was the process. Oh, like, this is really happening.
Oh, yeah.
This is for real. Yeah. Like, and I think at that point I was just like seeing everybody. Seeing his teachers, seeing his friends, seeing his grandparents and everybody's crying and everybody's going over there saying goodbye. And for me, I'm not gonna even lie, I was one of those people. Kylan was resilient. We went into the hospital. I said, he waking up.
Oh
He
yeah,
waking
that
up.
was me for sure.
He waking up. Even when we was at the apartment and the fireman, the ambulance was talking to him, saying, "Hey, get up." And I said, "Well, his dad is right there. He's walking in. He's gonna wake up. His dad is his best friend." I was so like my mind was like, oh, he's resilient. He goes through so much, but he doesn't cry when it comes to sticks, when it comes to them accessing his port. Yeah, he was so resilient. So when the doctor came and said they declared that he was brain dead, I was like, you're lying. Even from the time the nurse pulled out his intubation tube, I just knew he was going to wake up. And whenever they handed me him and he was in my arms and I said, he's gone, and they say yes, that's when the process, I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna lose my mind.
Yeah. And she was literally asking me, she was like, so what am I supposed to do after this? What am I supposed to do?
No.
Like, it literally, and I'm like, Dominique, like, breathe. Like, it's just, you just, at this moment, I just need you to take deep breaths. And I think you were saying that you could hear me saying, Dominique, I just need you to breathe. I just need you to breathe. Just listen to me. And I was down on the floor, literally in the floor with her, on my stomach, hands, knees, in her ear, saying, Dominique, I just need you to listen to my voice very quietly and just breathe. Because she's asking, so what I do? What I do? And it's like, nothing right now. Nothing. So, and it got to that point to where what people said. Let's talk about that. What people said. The number one question that people were asking us: Are you okay? Are you okay?
He's in a better place.
Not okay.
I'm not okay.
What does okay look like? What does okay supposed to look like?
What's it supposed to look like? This.
I know for me.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead and answer. For you.
Okay.
Yes.
It was are you okay? What does that supposed to look like? He's in no more pain. He's in a better place. So what better place is he at than being at home with me? Right. But what recently got me, and I'm gonna be short, is somebody's telling me that, oh, you're young, you can have more kids. Me having more kids does not replace the kid that I lost.
Right. Absolutely.
That kid would never be Kylan. Yeah. That kid would never be Kylan. So, okay, I'm gonna let y'all have it.
Yeah. Ooh, what does that? Yeah. What was the point for you? Is there? What was it like?
He's an angel watching over you. God created all his angels already.
we are the angels.
He is not an angel. That one got me. Better place, but this is a transparency moment, and I've only told a few people this, and I'm gonna share it. I'm in the hallway, so K4 at Children's. You've been on that. Everybody's been on that floor. We were in room 1 and 2 because the other room that they used for somebody passing or transitioning was being used. So they gave us room 1 and 2, which is right by an elevator that staff only uses. And I think there's a concession, like a
vending machine.
Yes.
So this is right after it happens, and I'm calling people, and I have this epiphany of it's over. It's over. And I felt bad for feeling that way. I was relieved. I had a moment of no more radiation, no more chemo, no more of this. It's over.
Your motherhood changed.
I was like, it was like this. But then it's over. It's over. And it's over. And then I started hyperventilating and crying and screaming in the hallway. That was a moment for me. Because people asked. I had somebody ask me, did you feel relieved? And at first I was offended that they asked me that. But I went through a 30-second window of, it's over.
It's over, yeah.
Because I was tired. We had got to the point where we know mommies are always my best friend. My husband was there. I was when I came back up there for Mother's Day weekend, I had been gone for like 2 weeks because my husband, the wonderful man that he is, left work. You know men, like, I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
I gotta go to work.
Yeah.
He came up there and said, Sarah, go home and rest.
Wow.
Go home. I got us.
And that takes a lot for a man.
Yes.
Takes a lot for a man. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. But the angel thing, the better place. I couldn't have any more kids because I had a partial hysterectomy. And just, all right, I get why people ask, are you okay? I get it. I do. I understand it. But it got overwhelming.
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of people don't know
What
to say and what not to say. They're just like, of course, you know, they're looking at something and saying, okay, these are just the common things that people that they ask, and you're like, no, you don't. Before you say something, try to do a little research.
Exactly.
When you're saying something, or if you want to be supportive to anyone that has lost, especially their child, it's different when you've lost your parent or your auntie or your grandma that raised you. It's a different whole journey with your child.
You carry them, you feel them, you hear that heartbeat, that kick, and it's inside of you. And people love to try to compare it to, oh, well, I lost my dad, so I know how you feel.
No, you don't.
I know you don't.
Absolutely
you
don't. Yeah.
Because I carried this person. This person was connected to me. My placenta was we was connected. I birthed this person. And it's not the same.
It's not.
Yeah, it is.
Not.
It's that the journey is not the same, and our motherhood changes.
Right.
It changes
Become more
us.
protective.
Yes.
Of your other children.
Yes, absolutely. And especially with us that have other children. That changes the whole, your daily routine is changed, of how you go about of like life itself. Life literally has came and picked you up and slammed you up against the damn wall. And now you're like, what am I supposed to do? How am I supposed to carry myself? And then, but you don't go back into your regular routine. No. You never will. You never will. And people are like, oh, why don't you just go back to work?
No.
What?
Oh, it took me a minute to go back to work.
I don't even work bedside anymore. I can't, as a nurse, I can't because of the noise. I know we mentioned I can't listen
That's
to
a trigger.
It's a trigger. So for me, I can't work bedside right now. Like I can't, and it's just a moment, like if I hear ambulance, fire truck, if I hear monitors going off, I'm froze.
Those are triggers. Those are triggers. Do you have triggers that
I don't remember nothing from the hospital. So I don't. From the hospital.
Yeah. So it's just,
hard.
it's just things. It's just the and like I was telling you, you know, for me, when it happened, the process, I didn't slow. It wasn't like I processed everything and I didn't slow it down. So I can relate to where it's like, I remember us walking up and them lowering the casket, and then what happened after that? I have no clue.
I don't remember nothing.
I don't.
People were like, the service was nice. You were there?
Yeah, right.
I went to a lot of that. You were there? Thank you for coming 3 years later.
Yeah. So a lot of that. And then at the, and it's, and for the services, and I don't know what type of service you all had, but it was kid friendly. At Collins. It was kid friendly. The music that was playing was superheroes. It was not, the hymnals that your grandma grew up on playing and all that stuff. No. And I just think that when you're a child, and of course everybody is different, but it was appropriate. It was that appropriate because that's what. If he was standing there, we would have been listening to the superheroes and the Avengers and Spider-Man and people swinging from him. That would have been him. That would have been him.
was nice.
And so it was nice to have that, and it was just that it was Kylan. That was Kylan, or whatever. And so people trying to tell you, you know, how to live your life afterwards. You don't, you can't, you don't have the access to be in that lane to tell me how to live my life afterwards, because you aren't physically, you may have put on one of those shoes, but the bottom of my shoe got a whole different story.
Yes.
Yes.
The bottom of my shoe, if I turn this shoe over, it might cut you. It might it might slice an artery.
one.
You
That is
just
a good
don't
one.
like it's a lot in that journey, because you just don't know as a mom the other thoughts that we've been thinking that we have never even said to people.
The suicidal thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
I know with me and Jessica, I can text her and I'll be like, "This is how I feel today." She'll be like, "Girl, I felt that last week. I felt that at this moment." And it's, if you tell somebody that has not experienced the loss of a child, they think you crazy.
Think you're crazy.
You need to go to you need
to get yourself checked in. You need some extra medication. No, I don't.
Exactly. But to be able to text people that've been through it and they can understand, and they're not judging, and even offer advice. We offering each other advice, and we going through the same thing.
Yes.
So
Yes. And sometimes it does not take, when someone, even when Dominique will text me, it doesn't even take me giving a whole 10 scripture word. It doesn't, no. Yeah. I just may throw out a bunch of hearts, and that's it.
and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's it. It don't, you don't need to tell anything extra, you know, that's not needed. And so, but it's nice to have a support system that's not related.
Right.
It's not related, because sometimes, like you say, they'll and they'll be like, "Oh, did you hear what she just told us last week?" That's not. It's no. I don't need you to judge me at this point. And so, I didn't go through that process. So, and I realize that now. It was just like I didn't talk about it. We didn't really mention it, and it was just like, okay, Madison passed away. And I didn't really talk about it with my other kid. And of course, Mikhail at that time, he was 3. So 3 and 4. So he's not going to understand. But now going back, it's like, what do you remember? Very little, but he was young, but he remembers a little bit, you know, going back and looking at pictures. And so that was the only child that I had at the time. But as far as like bringing that up, now we keep the memory alive, you know, when Madison's birthday comes around, you know, whatever, it may be a fundraiser that I do, and then that supports, you know, the Ron McDonald House, or we'll send things over to, and we were in Memphis, or whatever, and we'd, you know, St. Jude's, you may send something over there in memory or whatever. So those are the things. So are there things now that you do, or that you have thought about doing with your family, with organizations or other support groups to keep?
Yes. So we want to do or start a, can't think. What is it?
Nonprofit.
Nonprofit.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Listen, my brain does not work like it used to.
No,
Great brain.
you're good. You're good. You're good.
A nonprofit.
Okay.
For kids with cancer.
Okay.
And also, we want to start one with Cornelius too. So it's like it's so much. Oh God, it's so much we want to do. Social media. His videos has been going crazy. Oh man, I did not expect that. But social media, I post him all the time.
Okay.
I've slowed down a little because it's like I cannot watch
some of the videos. Yeah, absolutely. But you sharing that's a healing process, and that's a part of the grieving journey, and which is good, because you're getting the information out to people. Other people are able to see it, and it just brings them more aware to what you're doing, your cause, and then how they can support. They may go back later and say, "Oh, 3 weeks ago I saw this video, and my neighbor now is going through this. I want to share this with you." And it, at some point, it may or may not help you. So that's good just to even get those out there. And just, you know, keep that going. So is there things that...
It is. My husband already has started. It's called the Master's Rabbi.
Okay.
And the reason why he calls it the Master's Rabbi is it's called the greatest teacher. And he's a teacher by profession as well. So he started that, but 6 months after Dontre died, God put on my heart to start the bigger picture. And the bigger picture he actually gave it to me before he died. He just gave me the title. It was February when it snowed. Do y'all remember February 21 when we got like 16 inches and everyone was stuck in
Yes,
our
it was
house?
bad. It was bad.
Yes.
Yes, it was bad.
So we stayed with my mother that week because our house, in Palma has a lot of those old houses, high ceilings, floor, wood floors.
The original wood flooring.
Cold.
Cold.
Right.
Yes.
So it's like -5 degrees out.
Right.
So my mom stayed in a 2-bedroom apartment that she kept on hell. Okay. Hot. Right. I had to crack the window. That's how bad it was. Sorry, mommy. So we went and stayed with her. It just made more sense. Dontre had just got out of a treatment, and my husband had to wiggle his way home in the snow to get him back. So we're at my mama's house. I'm laying in the bed. Y'all, I sat up. Boom. The bigger picture. My husband was like, what? The bigger picture. I thought it was going to be a book because he had just got clear scans about the bigger picture of what we had just went through. That's what I'm thinking that God gave. That's all he gave me. So I'm speculating what you're giving it to me for. I wrote it down and left it there. He passes away. I go through the first 6 months of torture because I literally would drop my daughter off at school, and I would come home and I would partake in a beverage and sit in the middle of my bed.
The extra chameleon. That extra chameleon.
My extra chameleon. And I would cry.
Yeah.
I did that for about 6 months straight, almost every single day, to the point where the people that sold the extra communion, I'd pull up.
And they
They knew. They put it on the counter for me.
Here you go. There you go.
That's how bad it was.
They never ask questions?
No question.
My type of people.
Good customer service. That's good customer service.
judge it. Don't judge it. Yes.
I'm sitting in the car this particular morning, and God said, listen, here are your instructions. And I took out my phone on my notes. Under the, he said, it's time. And he gave me the instructions of what the bigger picture was about. And basically, he told me that you're going to help other mothers that have gone through the grieving process of losing a child, no matter how they lost their child. Because grieving a child, they got shot down on the street or died of a car accident or cancer, don't matter.
It doesn't.
That pain is still the same.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I was like, I don't want to do that. I said, I don't want to. That's not what I didn't sign up for that. I want to do that.
Yeah.
And the Lord was like, you will, whether you want to or not to. Okay. And so, but he gave me like the mission, the purpose. The only step left that I have is actually, I have my board members, like everything. I have to do the tax stuff to pay the
payment.
Yeah, that's my last step.
Okay.
But what we have started was on his birthday, and we started on what would have been his 18th birthday, is we collected non-perishable snacks and stuff for 4K. And awesome. We took by the time we got there, we had like these totes that they bring out, 2 tote things full and then we got stuff specifically for the nurses. And that's what we're going to do to honor his birthday every year, is to donate to 4K. I also utilize 4K a lot because my daughter is a sickle cell child. And since his passing, we've had some stays on 4K. And I had that PTSD.
Yes.
Real.
They had to come in there and somebody had to sit and rock with me because I was spazzing. Because I'm like, just don't ever put me in room 1 and 2. Don't put me in either one of them rooms and we good.
And we're good.
But I thought I would be okay even in another room. The very first time having to stay overnight after Dontre had died.
No.
She came, them nurses, them some good nurses. My experience on 4K, they took care of us like we were family.
Yeah.
But that's the plan with the bigger picture. And the Master's Rabbi, he talks a lot about grief and how to overcome it and stuff. But if you want to follow him on TikTok,
Absolutely.
Instagram,
Right.
Threads,
Absolutely.
Facebook, the Master's Rabbi.
Absolutely.
And you
Y'all
should-
heard her. She's telling
My
y'all, go follow
husband's
that on
doing
TikTok.
Great things with trying to encourage people, not even just with grief, but just in all aspects of life, trying to encourage people because the men need it too.
Absolutely.
The
Yes,
men need
yes.
it too. And he said a lot of times he felt some kind of way because people would come up to him and say, "How's your wife doing?"
But they would never say, how are you doing? Absolutely. And grief, like we say, grief looks so different with the mother and the dad. I can't necessarily speak in the perspective of a man of how they're feeling. But like you say, a lot of times it takes a lot. Your husband literally said, go home and rest. I got this, because the man is always like, I got to go to work. I got to do this. And so I think for me too, that's why I never stopped, because I was in single mom mode. I had to do all of this by myself. Now I had the support of my brother and my mom and my dad and stuff, but just that spousal support of being there, that's totally different. That lane looks different of your.
And seeing that you are on the board of the
Ronald McDonald
House. I have history with that too. And that's something, because I told my husband I want to help with Ronald McDonald House, 4K, and the PICU, because those are the areas that we've experienced.
Absolutely.
And so every year
Absolutely.
to honor his birthday, somebody will get something from us, from either the bigger picture or the Master's Rabbi or it all together. But this last year when he turned his 18th birthday, y'all, they brought us balloons. The
nurses.
volunteer nurses and that came to get the stuff from us. They had a 1 and an 8.
Oh, that's so sweet.
And a little gift basket for us to celebrate his 18th birthday. And
That's so sweet.
That's
sweet.
awesome. That's awesome. And Dominique, I know that y'all the Allen School is a big supporter with what you all are doing and
Yes.
carrying out Kylan's legacy and remembrance. So give us a little bit of back history about that.
So at the Allen School, there's a classroom dedicated to Kylan. The last classroom that he was in is dedicated to him. So if you have any kids with disabilities, like as far as autism or was born premature, speech delay, they offer OT, PT. So that's the school that Kylan went to before he passed. Recently, we just started the thing called Kylan's Closet. We start with birth all the way up to right now kindergarten, and we just help families that's in need with clothing, diapers. Right now we're not taking any like baby formula, but all those things. And we also have the Kylan Strong Foundation, and with that we want to be able to reach more families. Like maybe you're in a different state and you need medical treatment somewhere else, but you can't afford it, especially with insurance and how the world is going now. It's hard to get the correct medical treatment. So our goal with that is to be able to help families, whether it's medical needs, clothing needs, housing needs. Because we did stay at the Ronald McDonald House in Memphis. So far, that's in the works.
That's awesome.
I love that. That's amazing. And I once I did step back into at the Ronald McDonald House, just because at that time I couldn't pay for where we were staying, and of course if you can't pay, you don't send you don't give any money or whatever. But so I just make sure that at least once or twice a month that I go, whether it's with some of my other few friends I got on my few finger circles, and they come with me and say, hey, or they say, hey Kim, here's some money, or I'm gonna cook a pound cake, or I'm gonna do this. And so I cook for the families. We prepare about 50 to 60 meals, plates for those families that are there. And so that's at least twice a month. And then of course on my birthday I go in honor of my son, and then making sure that those families are fed through the holidays. So that is how I contribute back and and, keep the memory of Madison alive. And my mom has had a time where in El Dorado, they've walked the track, how many ever his birthday years. And then you release the balloons and stuff. And so we haven't did that. Yeah. So that's a good way for people that are getting up walking. They're already getting in their steps in the morning or whatever. So that's a good way. And then even us, together as a group, there's things that we can do together. You're in Magnolia, I'm in El Dorado, Pine Bluff. We're all close enough to where we can all kind of get together and do something all together to bring, that support of the other people in the community, bring more awareness, because at this moment, there is someone that will see this and then they will say, I'm actually sitting right where those moms are sitting, but I cannot open my mouth right now.
And the thing about that, you do not have to be strong.
Yeah, you don't.
You do not have to be strong.
You don't. You don't. You could literally, if you call and say, I'm on the floor and I can't even get up and I just want to cry for the next 2 hours, but I just need you to listen to me breathe on the phone. That's, you pick up the phone, you text, email, or whatever. Right. That's a way to support someone. You don't physically have to be like, well, I'm gonna come and get you and we gonna go get our nails done and all that stuff. Right. It's not the physical. Right. That's not the physical thing. Sometimes it's just literally you picking up, or you sending that text message and just sending that heart emoji back, or just, it's old fashioned now, but putting a card in the mail and someone, not expecting and saying, oh my goodness, they took the time to think. So it's just little things like that, that make a difference. Because like I say, each of our journeys, they are different. Yeah. Each of our grief process is different. Each one of you all out there that are watching, you're going to have a different process of grieving, and it is still okay to cry.
Yes. Oh, come on now.
Don't let anyone tell you if you have a moment and you say, if you standing out in the middle of the street and you're screaming and somebody say, what's wrong with that? Oh, I'm out here screaming for my child because I lost them 10, 15, 20. 2 days ago, I'm going to stand here and scream. If you decide to go and shave all your hair off and they say, oh, she got cut, you change your whole look. Guess what? It was my motherhood has changed. Yeah. My motherhood has changed. And whatever I feel at that moment that I want to do, and it makes me feel 1% better than I did yesterday, do it. It doesn't matter. Don't let anybody, tell you anything different or make you feel bad about the choice that you have made to better yourself, because you're going through that process. Right. They aren't. And I wouldn't wish that on anybody.
Not even my worst enemy.
Yeah, anybody at all, because it is not for the weak. And you definitely have to, your faith got to be there, and your faith got to be there, as my grandma could say, with the man upstairs.
It has to be.
You'll lose it. You'll lose it. You'll be on this little rock bridge about to just jump and don't care. You'll literally get in your car with the motor running and the garage down, and you will breathe in all of it, and then you will just commit the suicide. I've heard the stories. I've heard people share things with me of what, and like you're saying, the thoughts, or whatever, and they're real. That's real deal stuff, and that's stuff that we don't talk about. That's stuff that people think, oh, don't say that, and especially as blacks. Black African American, we don't talk about that. You'll say, oh, we don't go into therapy. That's crazy. Why would you do it? Go to therapy. Faithfully. Sit down. Talk to somebody. Because talk to somebody. Now, just don't talk to anybody.
Not everybody. Right. Some people ain't there.
Don't just go in there and talk to anybody. But reach out. Get you some resources. Validation, some good reviews. Sit down and find. And you may have to go through 2 or 3 therapists before you find somebody that's right for you. But don't be afraid to do that. And if you need somebody to go in with you, that's okay. Don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed, because this is a journey, unfortunately, that God has us going through. We don't know why. We don't quit. You say, Lord, why we done did it? But we just, Lord, you know what? You already.
That was growing up. You're taught
don't
you question God. And I said, why not? Jesus questioned God when he was in the garden. Yeah. He said, why me?
Why me? Why me?
Take this cup from me. Do I have to really do this?
Yeah.
And when that epiphany came to me, I was like, well, Jesus asked to his Father why he got to do it. I can ask, why do I have to go through this?
Why? Yeah.
Because it's
Yeah, we gotta have a come to Jesus conversation.
You know what? That was me, and I know we getting ready to like slow things down again. But that was me. But then I always go to the Book of Job. Everything, he lost everything. Every single thing. And I remember I was sitting there, and I'm upset, God. I'm mad at you. I'm mad, God. Like, what's up? Like, what you want to do?
Yeah.
I'm mad at you. So, you know, people kept telling me, just pray. Pray. I don't want to pray.
I don't want to pray right now.
I thought about the Book of Job because he lost everything, but still had that faith in God. So,
yeah,
it's hard.
It's hard.
It is. It is. And as you can see, we're all still standing.
Right.
I mean, we got hair on our head, whatever. I done put mine in braids, and because it just life, and it happened, or whatever. So, but we are all, we've cried today, we've laughed, we shared some personal things, we've shared some things that have never been shared before. You've heard our stories. Definitely is going to be a follow-up session. We definitely want, anyone, like I say, that sees this and that sits down and hears the stories and our testimonies of our journey. If you have questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We will list, once this is posted, our information as far as an email, the organizations that have been created. So you can reach out, find out how you can support more. You can become more aware if you have family members that are going through, they need more information. If you need referrals of doctors that we've had in the past, or something that has or has not worked for us, feel free to reach out. Do not be embarrassed to ask. You are not alone in this. And like I say, you definitely have to keep your faith in God. And, and I understand there are some people that, of course, they may not believe or whatever, but that's okay. But I know for myself, that if it had not been for God and on my side and having praying family members, I wouldn't be sitting here in front of this camera, and I wouldn't have met Dominique and Sarah and Jessica and been able to talk with them and share stories and stuff. So I know that God is able, and He is faithful, and He has put me in a journey, in a lane to continue on for whatever He needs me to do and for whatever I need to say. And I am so thankful. I'm thankful for my journey, whatever, because I never would have met Dominique, even though it was just from wedding planning, never would have. And then from Dominique sending a text message and crying while she was texting all of us saying, hey, we need to all sit down and tell our stories. I never would have met, Jessica and Sarah. And even though we're literally 35 minutes apart in a town, we still didn't know each other and had no idea that somewhere along our lifetime that we would be sitting here and that both of our sons would be, with the Lord now. So so they, just all up there having a good time. Hey, Madison!
My son is on the keyboard.
He's on the keyboard. On the keyboard.
I make a joke all the time. I'll be like, Jessica, Caleb and Kyle, they walked out together. They definitely walked out together.
And so it's just, so you keep those memories alive, and you have your laughable moments, you have your criable moments, your moments that you go get that extra communion and you just drink it.
Today.
And so right now. So we're thankful for all of these ladies as we end our session. And then we just thank also Tristan, Stuart Visual for allowing us to be able to come into the studio today and to provide these recording and filming sessions for us. So we look forward to, like I say, a follow-up session of just our journey and all the organizations that we are opening up and supporting. So we're going to do follow-up. So you guys tune in for later. Check us out. And you all stay blessed, be blessed. And thank you all so much for tuning in today to our grief journey. So bye.